Wow, 20 years. That is some achievement, isn't it? This came out in 2006. Yes, it's the 20th anniversary of Terre. You're only 10 years younger than me, only 10 years, and you still smell as good as you did 20 years ago. So yes, good afternoon. We are going to do a usual thing that we always do. We're going to go and do a workout. Yes, I'm going to go for a walk this afternoon, but with a slightly different twist. Recently, I've done some videos where I've talked about Neroli, why I think it's one of the best fragrance notes. I've also spoken about why I think Lush body sprays are great. But I'm here today to tell you why I think, in its 20th anniversary, why I think the original Terre d'Hermès Eau de Toilette is the greatest fragrance ever. Yes, it is one of my absolute staples. It's kind of, if someone said to me now, what is my signature scent? What is the one scent? If you could just own one, it could probably be this because it is so good. It's used in so many situations, which we'll obviously talk about in a bit more detail today. But essentially, what I want to do is I want to go through all the reasons why I think this is brilliant. So if you've not tried this one before, or you've been tempted maybe to buy a clone of it, why I think maybe now is the time to give it a go, because it's one of those scents I think, but there's a reason it's still around. 20 years on, that's a long time. When you think how many fragrances come out every year, not just from Hermes, but many, many brands. The fact this one is still one of their staples and doesn't look like it's going anytime soon, it's bestsellers on a lot of websites, I think speaks volumes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a couple before we go for our walk, and then we'll do our walk and go through the rest of them, why I think this is the ultimate fragrance. So first things first, I do kind of want to give you a bit of a vibe of this fragrance, where if you've never smelt this one before, what's it kind of smell like? Well, it's known for this kind of earthy orange, this kind of mineral smell, and Hermes fragrances are really good for this. They're very naturalistic. They almost feel like you're out in the springtime. They're just gorgeous. They just don't smell that synthetic smell about them, which I think you do get in a lot of designer fragrances these days. It really is all about that orange accord. It's really nice, but there's this kind of peppery and smokiness in the background, which gives it that masculine edge, which I really, really like. I think most people online, when you've seen it on fragrance reviews, they kind of call it a dirty orange, and that is what you get. It's a dirty orange, and it's just, I can't stop smelling it already. I really cannot stop smelling it already. It is so good. But let's talk about the first reason then, what I think this is such a good fragrance. And I'm going to start with a bit of a boring one, but I can't show you this on a walk, so I thought I'd start with this. It's the bottle. Now, the first thing I do like, got a little H for Hermes on the bottom, but the one thing I really like with this is the fact it hasn't got an actual lid. The amount of times you have to take a lid off with fragrances, stick them back on, sometimes they don't fit very well. I much prefer the fact this just has this turning mechanism. It's so much easier, so much more convenient. Honestly, the amount of times I've got one here where you can't get them off or they don't sit properly, I just find them irritating. I find lids irritating. So one thing I do like with this is its bottle design. I'm not a massive person, worried about. Obviously, the scent is the thing that matters most, but it's a nice, easy to hold fragrance. It's not too uncomfortable in your hand. I just think it's simplistic but classy at the same time. Again, just very simple. There's written on it. Nothing too flashy. No silly, not the shape. It's not SpongeBob SquarePants sitting on it, for example, or shaped like a teddy bear. It's just an elegant fragrance. They want you to know this is an expensive type of fragrance, an expensive type of scent, and that represents it with the bottle, so you know that you're getting something high quality even before you start. So the next positive of Terre d'Hermès, why do I think this is such a good fragrance? Well, I obviously have mentioned what the sort of general vibe of the smell is, but when you do go into the notes, they're very recognisable. You've got a bit of orange in there, you've got a bit of grapefruit, you've got a bit of vetiver, and it's more of that smoky, grassy type vetiver. Patchouli, cedar adds a bit of woodiness in this as well. And that just makes it a really easy fragrance to put off. These are notes that are in men's and women's fragrances in equal measure. And they're notes that are timeless. You can go back 40, 50 years, you go well before this fragrance was out. Those notes were popular then, and you just need to look at the modern releases of fragrances. They do tend to still be those more freshy, and sometimes if you have those gourmand notes like vanilla, there's nothing too daring, nothing's particularly changed over the years, and orange is a note that's always used in fragrances. Pepper as well, which is in this fragrance. It's used in many fragrances, and I just think that adds this timeless quality about it. Look, do I think it's a little bit more grown up, a bit more sophisticated than some of those juvenile scents that do smell like citrus? Yes, I do, but they're nothing too daring. This isn't one that if you're a younger person, you need to worry about too much and go, oh, is that going to be like an old man? Yes, it's 20 years old now, but it's not really dated, and I don't think it's one that's ever going to smell too dated, too old. If anything, it just makes you smell a little bit more grown up, a little bit more sophisticated, and to be taken a bit more seriously. Right, the sun is back out now, the rain has stopped, so we're going to go outside and we'll do the rest of the sort of positives as we do our walk. So we are out. We are on to the third point now. So we've already spoken about how I like the bottle design. I like the fact that you can just twist the cap. You don't have to take anything on and off all the time. And also the fact that the notes in this are suitable for people across many different ages. Now, that kind of segues nicely into my third point, actually, and that is that you can get this fragrance in many different sizes. So the bottle I've got, I want to say it's about 175ml off the top of my head. You can obviously get the standard 100ml, but you can also get smaller sizes under 100ml, but also gift sets as well, or I believe you get like a little travel atomizer, maybe like a 12ml sample size, and tends to get like an aftershave balm or a shower gel with it. So let's say there is someone younger, maybe you've got a son or a friend who you know is getting into their smelling. It's a good place to maybe give them as a gift, or if you're that person yourself, you can maybe, rather than spending as much money, you can get a smaller size to see if you like it. And that's exactly the same for an older gentleman. If you're someone who's used to Aramis, used to dupe, and you just want that bit of change, you don't necessarily have to go and spend the big bucks because it's only in one bottle size. It's in multiple sizes, and yeah, you can treat yourself without having to break the bank. You can still get your favourite smelly at the same time. So that sort of flexibility of bottle sizes is good if you wanted to try this for the first time. Now I am going to have to apologise, it is very, very windy outside, so I'll try and talk as clearly as I can, but the fourth point we're going to go on to is I think it is as versatile as Dior Sauvage. Yes, I think this fragrance, Terre as the original, can be used in as many situations as these well-known popular blue fragrances. And I say that for one reason. When you look at the notes in this, you've got the citrus from the orange, you've got a bit of peppery spice in it, you've got a bit of smokiness from the vetiver, you've got a bit of patchouli which gives that earthy depth, and you've also got a bit of woods from the cedarwood as well. It goes into so many different facets, so many different nuances, and that tends to be what makes them really suitable for those transition seasons, in particular, spring and fall time. Now, I'll admit, I think blue fragrances are more suited to those casual gym settings, but I've had compliments at the gym with this fragrance on. That's probably because of that nice orange citrus coming through. And in contrast to those blue fragrances, I think you can dress this one up a little bit better than blue scents because of that smokiness, that little bit more grown-up peppery vibe that it's got about it. It just gives it that more masculine edge, a little bit more serious for a suit and tie type occasion. So yeah, I literally can't think of an occasion where I wouldn't use this. I've worn it in office situations, I've worn it at staff parties. I think it'd be really good for a wedding scent, summer, winter time, even just wearing it at home. Really what I'm trying to say is it's got that signature scent quality about it, and it's just such a recognisable DNA that, yeah, I honestly can't think of where it's wrong. I'm not saying it's necessarily perfect in certain situations. On a really hot sunny day, I may not choose it, but it's never going to be uncomfortable. I've never felt uncomfortable wearing this one, whatever the occasion, casual dress up. And that's why I think it's so popular. Let's be honest, versatility is the name of the game with a lot of these. And Terre d'Hermes certainly screamed versatility to me. Now my fifth point kind of links into versatility just a little bit, and it's going to be a bit divisive. Some people are going to disagree with me on this one, and it's kind of where how interested you are in fragrances, but I think it's good value for money. Now we've said obviously you can get different size bottles, but also the fact it is versatile. The price I paid, I'll tell you it now, I think I got my 170 odd ml bottle for around £75. Now, I'm looking online at the moment, the general price for the original Terre d'Hermes in 100ml is around that £70 range. Now, you can literally, as we just said, use this in every situation you want. And of course, look, I really like some leather fragrances, but I can't use them at the gym. I don't feel comfortable using it at the gym. A really strong fruity fragrance, I don't want to wear them all the time, particularly in high heat weather. And citrus fragrances don't really cut through the cold as much as I want, so I'm always feeling like I've got to buy another scent. This scent you can buy for £70 and it will literally do everything you want. So while it may not look on face value that cheap, and it isn't that cheap, it's quality, but also the fact it is quality, but it can be used all the time. You can just have this one to do everything. I think is a big selling point. So I actually think overall it's good value for money, and of course, as we said, with the smaller bottle sizes, you don't have to spend those big prices all the time. So I apologise as well, a lot of people are doing gardening at the moment, so if you do hear lawnmowers, of course springtime means people are outside more, but also their grass is growing a lot quicker. So yeah, I'll try and speak as loudly as I can for this video. But let's go on to the 6th point, and to be honest with you, this is a bit of a personal one, but I think it's a compliment getting magnet. Honestly, I've had more compliments with this one than any I've owned before, and to be honest, I don't think I ever would have liked this one as much as I did without all the comments I've had about it. Because look, we all like to wear scents for our own personal preference. We all like ones that, you know, we've got to like it ourselves. But when other people say they like it around you, it just makes you feel good, doesn't it? It's basically an easy way for someone to say something nice. And let's be honest, we all want people to be nice to us and say nice things. And you don't even have to try with fragrances. Again, I've had compliments at the gym with this one. I've had people message me online, you know, colleagues at work saying, can you just send me the link to that one, because, you know, I want to get it for my husband or anything like that. I've had people, you know, speak to my mum and say, oh, your son always smells really nice. And it tends to be because I'm wearing this fragrance. So it is built for compliments. And let's be honest, that's the reason clone fragrances exist, because they're copying scents that are mass appealing. And this one's been cloned a lot of times, and that is because it's compliment getting. It's a compliment getting scent. And honestly, the amount I've had, whether I've been, I said, at the gym, whether I've been at work, dressed up, dressed down, it's always been something that people kind of remember me by as the person that smells nice. And 90% of the time, it's this fragrance that I've been wearing. So if you want compliments, if you want people to say nice things about you without really even having to try, Terre is a great place to start. So again, probably linking into my last positive about compliment factor. Why do we get compliments? Why do fragrances get good attention? That's normally because they're quite loud. They're, you know, strong projection, strong longevity. And I think that's kind of the case with this one. It strikes a really good balance. This is the next positive for me. It strikes a really good balance between projection and longevity. Now, I've had fragrances that have been really, really loud in terms of projection, but they don't last very long. They're really strong for an hour, and then you can barely notice them. And also, when they are strong for that period, they can almost be a bit annoying, not only for yourself, but nauseating for people around you. They're too heavy. And on the flip side, I've had some that have had really good longevity, but they're kind of just quite tame. They don't really go any further than your own scent bubble. And that's a bit annoying when you sort of think, oh, it's really nice, but people don't recognise it. That can be frustrating as well. This one really strikes the balance between the two. It lasts pretty long. Again, I can smell it on my hoodie 3 or 4 days later, but also on a hot day, 6-7 hours time, people have complimented me even after that on a hot day. So it's still around, it's still noticeable to other people, even when you sometimes think it's gone. So it's got a real good balance between the two, projection and longevity. Oh, I'm glad to get away from all that noise. I've got my buttermint in my mouth. There's nobody really in front. The weather's not so nice. I don't have to hear all that machinery going on. So we can go into our next point. And look, to me, this one doesn't particularly matter, but this will be a positive for some people. The Hermes name. Now, look, when some people obviously will compliment you on this and they'll ask, oh, what is that fragrance? I've not smelt that one before. They're probably going to ask, yeah, what the brand is, what the actual fragrance is. When you say it's Hermes, it's a brand that people recognise. It's a brand that, you know, you see it on those. Now, if you go to like a high street in London, you sometimes get like Prada, Creed. Hermes tend to be there as well. Now, as I said, for myself, I'm wearing like scruffy clothing, but I know for a fact some people will buy like a Burberry fragrance and they're not that expensive because they know how expensive the scarves are. How many people buy designer clothes, for example, and they can look exactly the same as a really cheap clothing from Primark, but they want it because they want the logo, they want the name. And that's what you'll get with this. If you're someone who's, you know, into that sort of thing, likes the prestige of having brands, Hermes is a great place to go. And not only that, it backs it up with the smell. So not only do you get the naming from this, you also get the smell, and it just gives you that element of, I feel good, I smell good, and people will feel like you've made an effort. It's nice to feel like you've made an effort, and with this fragrance, it definitely feels like you're prioritising your hygiene, prioritising your cleanliness. And yeah, that brand name is a definitely attractive trait to some people. I'm going to ask you a question to start with. More for those of you that are really into your phrases, you probably know the Terre DNA. Let's be honest, if you watch YouTube videos and stuff, you probably have smelled this one before. But how often do you smell this fragrance, you know, just in the high street or at work? Just, you know, how often do you smell it during your day? I don't think I ever really smell it at all. Whereas Dior Sauvage, whether it's a clone of it or, you know, the actual fragrance itself, you smell it everywhere. It feels like it's really popular within the mainstream, even amongst people who maybe don't share a similar interest in fragrances. Terre d'Hermes has got a very easy to pull off, not overly unique smell, but it's not worn by a lot of people, and that's what I like about it. It makes you stand out, and that's why I think I've had so many people say nice things about this one, because it's not an unfamiliar smell. Orange and patchouli are not unfamiliar, but within this fragrance, this combination together, it turns heads, particularly in the sort of mainstream where people don't necessarily recognise this scent DNA. So that makes you stand out. It's not unique, but it is quite unique to people that maybe don't have that same understanding as you, and that's a big positive for me. And the final sort of positive, the final reason I think Terre is one of the best fragrances, no, the best fragrance on the market today, is because I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. There's nothing more annoying when there's a fragrance you really like that you buy once and then it disappears. And I've had so many that I think I really wish I still had it. Pure Havane by Thierry Mugler is one of my absolute all-time favourites. Can you find it anywhere now? You can on eBay, but I don't trust it. It's been discontinued. This is one of those fragrances that I think is just a staple for Hermes. It's probably their number one, if anything. It's a little bit like, you know, Mugler keeps Amen, Bentley keeps Bentley for Men Intense. They don't feel like they're going anywhere anytime soon, and I think that's a really important thing for some people, because I don't like buying something that I really like knowing I can't get it again, because it actually makes me feel worse. With this one, I feel pretty confident it's going to be around, you know, hopefully 20, 30, 40 years time. Look, Guerlain Habit Rouge, for example, came out in the 1960s. Aramis came out in the 1960s. They're still around today, and there's no sign of those ones going anytime soon either. And I'm hoping this will be the same with this fragrance in, you know, I know it's only 20 years, but hopefully 40, 60 years time, it'll still be around. And I'm confident it will be, not only because of the sales, but also because it is, as we touched upon earlier, a timeless fragrance, an amazing fragrance. And I'll be honest, perfect for this afternoon. You know, it's quite breezy, it's quite cool still, it's a bit of a north wind, it's springtime. It's just perfect. It's perfect for any occasion. It makes me feel good, and it's a part of me that, yeah, I just don't think I'll ever get bored of it. And hopefully if you try it, you'll enjoy it and never get bored of it either, because it is a great scent. But hope you've enjoyed this one today. Let me know if you've tried this one, or if you want to try this one, but also maybe other reasons why you like this fragrance so much, and maybe some memories you've had, any compliments that you can share that you've had on this fragrance as well. But yeah, definitely one to recommend. Deserves the attention it gets, and yeah, I can't wait to wear it through the rest of this springtime. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.